so as to see some of the questions which keep on bothering us, I think can be answered in some degree by this discussion. So we'll first to recall in the fundamentals just in a summary form so that we are back to the tune in that. So you go to we had studied about chittas that you can have 89 kind or 121 depending on further subdivision of supermundane chittas. What we normally experience here is sense sphere chittas, which are 54. Out of them, 12 are unwholesome, 24 are beautiful, and 18 are rootless. Rootless meaning they don't have any karmic influence. And out of beautiful also, there are some which are not having karmic influence, therefore they are called beautiful, and others have karmic influence. Then there are chittas experienced during jhanas. The fine, fine material sphere means the roop jhanas basically. Immaterial sphere means arup jhanas, and supermundan chittas means the lokotar chittas, the one which are experienced by Aryas. So these are the various chittas which we had discussed, which are essentially the pure chitta associated with vijnana, with various kinds of mental factors. The sense sphere chittas which we had focused, out of the unwholesome we had in this, if you see the next one, they can be rooted in lobha, dosha or moha. And then we had done further dichotomization based on the kind of feeling, based on the presence or absence of wrong view. And accordingly, there were 8 types of dobhamula chittas, 2 types of doshamula chittas, and 2 types of mohamula chittas. So this distinction we had made primarily based on what is I put down in the red color, whether the dichotomization rule was whether it is prompted or unprompted, whether the wrong view is associated or there is no wrong view, and whether the mental feeling is pleasant or neutral. In case of lobha, there will be either 2. In case of dosas, there has to be only unpleasant feeling, and in case of moha, only moha, there will be always neutral feeling. And we will also remember that lobha will always be present, moha will always be present with lobha, dosa, moha will always be present. So when we say moha mula chitta, it means moha is so strong that everything else is really overcome. So you can see the kind of moha mula chitta that either with doubt or restlessness. So both of them are of kind which make it impossible to either hate or have any greed, because mind is totally restless or is constantly kind of overwhelmed by doubts. So these are the unwholesome chittas. Then we had these rootless chittas, or what are called abhyakatas, which don't have any roots. And there are again of 2 kinds. One is the resultant, which is vipaka chitta, means the result of our karma, vipaka chittas, and functional chittas. Functional chittas are which are doing certain functions without having any ethical connotation. So out of the vipaka chittas, there can be those which arise from unwholesome karma and those which arise from kushala karma. So we have akushala vipaka chittas and kushala vipaka chittas, and then they are further subdivided. In both of the cases, we have sense sphere chitta, that is 5 senses are operating, and then besides them there are these receiving chittas and investigating chittas which I had mentioned. This we will see further now when we discuss the Abhidhamma from the point of view of application in thinking process. So you can see that what it essentially implies is that whatever we see in our life is a result of past karma. If you see something pleasant, it is kushala dhamma, kushala vipaka. If it is unpleasant, it is akushala vipaka. So the same thing applies to seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, everything. And the functional chittas are those which are a part of the stream of chittas for doing certain functions, which I think will become more clear as we will study the thinking process in detail soon. Similarly, there are so-called beautiful chittas, and out of them, some are functional, so therefore they are not called wholesome, they are called beautiful, because some of them are functional, so they don't cause any karma.
Okay. The sense sphere chittas which are being mentioned in okay, because this is slide number 3 is an exposition on the rootless.
Yeah, because if you see the slide number 2, I had pointed out sense sphere chittas are of three kinds. Unwholesome, rootless, and beautiful. Right. Now you may ask, why beautiful, why not wholesome? Because in beautiful there are some rootless chittas. They have been separately put that in that manner also. Functional chittas are there and beautiful, which are experienced by arahants and arya people. So they have been kept in that manner. So that's why this classification has been done in this manner. So in the beautiful chittas, you will see there are resultant chittas, vipak chittas, but they are rooted, which means they are stronger than the rootless chittas. So they are called mahakushala vipaka chittas. They are stronger than, because they have certain roots, positive roots.
So rootless or rooted, what's the differentiation?
It means those fundamental roots of lobha, moha, dosa, or alobha, amoha, adosa, they are not present.
They are not present.
So they are weak chittas in that sense. Okay. When there is a root, it is a very strong chitta, which means it has like a tree with a root and like a tree without a root. So without a root, it can't stand for long. So they are weak chittas which arise and pass away very quickly. But rooted chittas will sustain and they have a great intensity. So that is the difference.
For example, weak chittas, for example.
Which means, say you just see something and you see something unpleasant. It doesn't affect us too much. Isn't it? But if we get something which is very strong, if we like something very strongly, we create lobha, or we create alobha, generosity, then we do an action of generosity, it translates into action, then it gives you a lot of joy. It has a strong impact on the psyche. So in that sense, the difference. So then we have, in the beautiful chitta, you will see we have wholesome chittas, which are karmic influence, then resultant chittas, which are result of past karma, and the functional chittas of the arhants. So in the wholesome chittas, which are karmic influence, we can have mental feeling of neutral or pleasant, and we can have with knowledge or without knowledge, and prompted or unprompted. So that makes it 8 types, both of wholesome and resultant, and also functional chittas also. So functional chittas are again beautiful chittas of the same kind, but they don't produce any impact on an arhat. They are not having any karmic influence. So that is the main difference between them. And then we had studied about
in this slide only the resultant are the rooted one.
No, wholesome is fully rooted. Wholesome is always rooted. Resultant is normally rootless. So I have written rooted because these are the strong chittas, which happen only in beautiful chittas. It does not happen in unwholesome chittas. So that's a saving grace. In unwholesome chittas, we don't have vipaka, which is rooted. Okay. In wholesome chittas, we have vipaka. The resultant means vipak chitta, result of past karma. Then we have these various mental factors which we had studied, ethically variable, beautiful, and unwholesome. There were 7 universals, 6 occasionals. Then beautiful, there were 19 universals, 6 occasionals. In unwholesome, there are 4 universals, 10 occasionals. And we had seen that in ethically neutral consciousness, there will always be these 7 universals will be present, and there will be some occasionals also. In beautiful chittas, there will be 7 universal plus 19 universal, means 26 will always be present, plus there may be some occasional factors present. In unwholesome chittas, there will be 7 ethically variable and 4 universal, which means 11 chitta vrittis, chitta chaitasikas will be present, and then will be others also. There can be occasionals which are ethically variable. There can be occasionals which are unwholesome. So this way, the classification is worked out. So this is what we had already studied. You have the presentations already with you. You can reflect on them. I think they are also on. You have posted them on YouTube also somewhere. No? So
most of the videos.
So you can send the link also so that we can revise all this. It will be helpful. We don't need to know completely everything, remember, but it is helpful to be aware of that. So, so in terms of the